Sort of embers of a hope of Chelsea catching City at the top of the table are dead. It is over. They are 13 points clear now at the top of the Premier League. Let's start, shall we, by hearing what Thomas Tuchel had to say after the game. This is what he said regarding their attack, saying, "We had 8 or 9 offensive transitions but had 0 touches in the box. That was a big problem today. The performance of our front players, a lack of position, timing and composure. We lost too many balls too easily. Romelu Lukaku sometimes needs to do the service. He is included in this. He had many ball losses in very promising circumstances. He had a huge chance." Interesting, the stuff there. Tuchel pulling no punches as he welcomed in Frank Leboeuf and Nedum Anua. I'll go to you guys in a minute. Craig, I just want to start with you, just reacting to what he had to say after the game there.
Well, he's not too wrong. Lukaku didn't have a great game, and his hold-up play wasn't very good. But the service from behind was awful. I thought Pulisic and Ziyech in particular. I don't expect Pulisic to be playing worldy balls through, but I expect him to be doing a lot more than he did. But I expect Ziyech, the whole premise of him being brought in was end product.
Yeah.
That's what he delivers. And his end product today was awful. And so, if you're criticising Lukaku, yeah, you can criticise him for that. You can call it a miss or a save from Ederson. You can talk about his hold-up play. But if you're expecting Lukaku to go and do everything for himself, then you've wasted 100 million. He's a player who's always relied on crosses in the box and good service. So, is there any surprise that's popped up for Thomas Tuchel here? That Romelu Lukaku is not going to drop into the halfway line, pick the ball up, beat 5 players, put it in the top corner? That's not what his career suggests. And I think we're already seeing a small semblance of this manager who is not getting the results that are required, who's a country mile behind City, starting to just blame some other people. Let's just blame 1 or 2 others. Because did he talk about his own tactics in today's game? No, he didn't.
Nedum, what do you make of the comments, particularly about Lukaku after the match?
I think what Craig's saying there is mostly true, because what he said, it feels factual. There were too many turnovers and stuff like this, but I think the fact is it's not Lukaku's game. But if you were to put all eyes on Tuchel, then he does sound very, very frustrated. But in some ways, perhaps that's because he thinks the players can do better. And that's the interesting thing for me, because when we can talk about Lukaku's strengths and the like, some of those things which you mentioned, we wouldn't necessarily put towards the top of his main abilities. But he believes in that. He believes in the players, and he thinks they should be doing better. I think that assist stat is obviously a concern for him, because he wants all his front line to be involved with each other. It's not just one person up there that's just going to get a ton of tap-ins and do nothing else. But I think he's right. I think he's right to be frustrated. I think his team could have played better. Obviously, the tactics are, up for debate and so on. But in some ways, it's good that he's been strong about it, because if he tried to play it down, then we'd be saying, well, why is he doing this? Does it not matter anymore? But you can see it matters to him, which is why he's frustrated on the sideline. But as to why it didn't quite work out, I think he needs to go and figure it out for himself, because I think in some ways, just saying this is what happened, it won't necessarily solve the problem the next time.
Were you wrong about Lukaku?
No. In what sense?
In that they were better, much better, weren't they, against Liverpool, without him in the team than he was today?
Well, let me address a few things. They were at home against Liverpool. Liverpool were a weakened team that day. They were missing Matip at the back, so Kante came in beside Van Dijk and looked shaky. Chelsea actually played well that day, up until the final third in general. So no, I don't think I was wrong about him. I know everybody's got a different opinion about should he have been dropped, should he not. My opinion is, and will remain so, that there could have been a different way of handling it, i.e. a fine. Now, I get the argument, there's no guarantee if he plays, you're going to win the game. But when you dominate one of your rivals at home and you're getting crosses in the box, you'd want him in there, particularly when he had been back from injury for 2 games, and in those 2 games, he'd scored twice. Right? That's my point in this whole thing. But before we go to Frank, let me just address one other thing here, out with Lukaku. I think it's quite embarrassing that one of the most expensively assembled teams who are in dire need of a win go up to a main rival and play and offer up a performance that's akin to Burley, Everton and 1 or 2 others who, I've checked the stats, had more pops at goal when they went to the Etihad than Chelsea did today. Now, if you're talking about Lukaku, you talk to me about Thomas Tuchel's tactics away from home and just trying to sit in and hope to catch them on the break. right? You talk to me about a striker who likes crosses in the box and then tell me how many times of relevance that the wing-backs and Azpilicueta and Alonso got over the halfway line. So it's all very well looking at your players, but I expect a team as expensively as assembled and a squad that is this deep and a game that they have to win to go up there and offer me something more than sitting in and waiting for City to make a mistake. Because I know a dozen other teams in the Premier League that can go and do that.
What was striking, I thought, today, Frank, was if you compared the performance from Chelsea to that of Arsenal when they took on City just a couple of weeks ago. Arsenal had a bit of fight, a bit of belief. Chelsea seemed to lack any sort of that today.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't like to compare games because it's not the same day, it's different timing, it's different team. I guess Manchester City were more tuned in than they were against the Gunners maybe at the time. You can find lots of explanation. And what I just want to say is when you hire Lukaku, you know that he's not the type of player we're going to need. We're going to need helps from the others to create chances. He's going to rarely, except in counter-attack, create on his own the chances to score. And what Craig just mentioned about the two wing-backs, who didn't bring anything, is maybe because also the tactic of Guardiola was made to avoid Azpilicueta and Alonso to come forward and deliver the crosses that Lukaku wanted. So that's a little bit of that. It's also the weaknesses of Ziyech and Pulisic in that game, giving the poor ball in Lukaku. But overall, we have what we had last year, where Chelsea is a good defending team, but they can get out very easily, technically, out of their two-thirds of the field. But in the last third, there is a lack of maybe belief, but the lack of technique, lack of confidence of playing together to create chances. And therefore, offensively, I found them very weak in that game. So again, is that because of Manchester City tactic or because of the individuals of Chelsea, or maybe the tactic of Tuchel? The thing is, you work tactically against another team who is also working tactically. So it's a fight. And clearly, Tuchel lost against Guardiola. And everything that Guardiola decided to do worked, where everything that Tuchel decided to do didn't.
Go on, Adam.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think as far as this game goes, one thing that I think, this will sound really silly because it's coming from me, but playing against Man City is a different sort of challenge to playing against other sides, because with City, there's an obsession about controlling the game through possession, and every time you have the ball, especially at home, they'll apply as much pressure as they can to you to make you get the ball back. So I think that's something that does need to get mentioned. And for Chelsea, they're at their best when they control the game and they keep more possession, but I think away at City, that's just not something that they, two teams can't both control the game in the same way. So I think they'd probably put Chelsea on the back foot. And as Craig's alluded to there, the teams who maybe suit being the underdog will get more chances because they're better at that. I think for Chelsea, that's not their strength. So I think in some ways, when you look at it, Tuchel might have tweaked the tactics and so on, but it just seems like it's a difficult matchup for them, especially in this moment in time, especially for a team that doesn't have the most confidence because they're not winning the most amount of games. Whereas City were very much on the front foot. They are a front foot side through anything, doesn't matter who they're playing against. I think Chelsea suffered because of that today. But then, again, as you say, we talk about Arsenal and how they played. I think to give Arsenal credit, they did have more of a front foot approach, but that was far easier for them to do because they were playing at home and they had a ton of people behind them and they thought they had to put on a show. Whereas for Chelsea, it felt like the big thing was just somehow getting a result. And as soon as City got in the groove, I think it's very hard for most players to say, well, no, we're going to break out of this and we're going to stick to what we do, because they really just take it to you all the time.
Lest we forget, City didn't even bother to play their best defender. Now, you might say they have other good defenders, and they do. Laporte and Stones is hardly a shabby central defensive pairing. But give me Ruben Dias any day of the week. We can still leave him on the bench. Let's be honest, Man City have schooled Chelsea on 2 occasions this season. Once at Stamford Bridge, once at the Etihad. If I want to watch one of the perceived top teams in the Premier League sitting in and hoping for a counter-attack. I'll put a rerun on of Arsenal-Liverpool after Xhaka got sent off and got put down to 10 men. I'm sorry, but I was expecting more, and the table doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Yes, City are on a 12-game winning streak, and yeah, it's incredible. But it's up to Tuchel and the rest to adapt to that and be good enough. And they were just not. They were schooled again today. And yeah, it was difficult for City at times to break them down, because it can be, particularly against good players who play deep. But 13 points is not good enough. And it's over to Liverpool now. Otherwise, we're going to be crowning City sooner rather than later.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.